What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the corner. As always, I am the DM, and today we have another one from Jezrus. Now, Jezrus has been putting out a few videos. I have not reacted to them primarily because it wasn't much for me to add, at least not in my opinion. Either that or it was things that were still kind of developing or whatever, right? Now there is another one I want to react to, and it's about the $60 store mount, or I think it was $90 store mount, because there's some wild things going on with that. But I've been waiting a little bit. I've been letting it cook, seeing if there's anything else that other people want to add before I go in and kind of talk about it a little bit. But I just woke up. He put this one out. I've been following the Vessel of Hatred expansion for a little bit, and I'm gonna be honest. It's not looking good for Vessel of Hatred. It's really not.
Hey guys, today I wanna talk about one of the biggest problems in Diablo 4's endgame right now, if not the biggest problem. But I wanna preface all of this saying that Season 6 for Diablo 4 is my favorite season so far. I've been having tons of fun with the season. I think the game is in a good state and it is going to continue to improve. So this is not a doomer video because I am very positive about the game before saying, oh, you are only here to bitch and to whine and whatever. No, I like the game. The game is really cool. I have 4 characters. I have played a fuck ton. My characters can do pits over 90. So I think I've been liking the game. I think
To be fair, you can still bitch about a game and love the game. To be fair, those are not necessarily mutually exclusive things, right? And to be fair, Jazarus does bitch about games that he loves a lot, right? Like World of Warcraft, he loves that game. I understand why he loves the game. But there are things in the game that are bad, like Mythic Plus, for example. So bitching about Mythic Plus is something you should do, right? If you don't like something that's in a game, you should speak about it. You should talk about it, right? That's the only way. Like talking about things that you don't like in games is the only way that those things could get fixed, right? If they are actually in need of fixing. If you don't say anything about the thing that you hate in the game, it's never going to change. So,
you can characterize this as a hater, but what I am saying is to improve the game. I want the game to always be better and better and better, and that is why I give my feedback. And my feedback right now is related to end game, but ultra end game, like pits over 80, pits over 90, the Uber bosses, all of that. So maybe this problem doesn't affect the whole community, but just affect a small percentage. But that is what I want to talk about. My biggest gripe right now with Diablo 4 is that there is no skill expression. The biggest skill expression that you can have is the build you play, like developing a cool build, creating a build would be the way you express your skill. Because when you go to a boss, that there are no cool bosses in Diablo 4, let's be honest, and or you go to a high pit, what matters is your gear, the level of your gear, your affixes, your graded affixes, your aspects, your rolls on your uniques. That is what says the crits that you have in your master working, in your tempering. That is what determines if you are going to clear the pit or not your skill. There might be some people out there on Copium saying, no, you have to know how to play the game to clear a pit. No, brother, you don't have to. You take a character that is geared out to the max and you give it to a person that doesn't play the game that much and they can clear a high level pit because it is not a skill expression. A geared character will clear it. I don't like that. I know that for some ARPG people, that is how the game is supposed to be. Diablo 3 was like that, and Diablo 2 was like that. And I don't give a fuck about how it was before. I care about how it is now.
so Diablo 3 had massive power creep issues. Talking about this a little bit, so I never played Diablo 2, so I don't know how it was there, but in Diablo 3, um, when the game first came out, you had a lot of skill expression like he's talking about. You could the way you progressed was through your build and how you made it, right? It was very specific to that. However, later on, it became just about not what you built specifically, but about the item sets you were using, rather than how you made your skills and everything. It became about if you didn't have this specific item set, your build was trash and you couldn't clear the high end game. We're talking like Great Rift, like close to 100 plus, right? Like the highest Great Rifts that were there. But after a while, when the power creep set in, um, you started getting people or you started getting to a point where if you didn't have a specific build, or not specific build, specific items, you just couldn't clear the greater rifts. End of story. And there's no better example of this than the seven-sided strike explosion effect. That set was so busted that before you got it, you were pretty much hard capped at a certain greater rift progression. You couldn't get past it. But the moment you got the items that made the build, right? So the way it was is there was a build that when you put exploding palm on an enemy, um, and hit them with seven-sided strike, it caused the exploding palm to detonate, right? And then there was another item set that made it so that when the seven-sided or when the exploding palm was detonated, it didn't wear off, right? And so before you got both of those, you were hard capped on the progression you could get, regardless of how good you played. You could be the best fucking player in the world. It didn't matter if you didn't have this item set, right? Like end of story. But the moment you got that item set, floodgates. You were able to jump from like torment level 1 immediately to the highest torment level, right? You could immediately jump to some of the hardest greater rifts, and the only limitation was the density of mobs. Because that's just how stupid the build was. And it all depended on your items, not your skill.
Because right now, I can play Diablo 4 or I can play another game that rewards a skill if I want to express myself in that way. So I could play WoW or I could play Dora 2 or whatever. So
Path of Exile does this really well, where you can pretty much clear the entire game with any build if you are good enough. Just another reason why GGG is such an amazing developer.
I want to play Diablo because I like the skills, I like the characters, I like the universe, I like how the game plays. But this particular thing could be improved. They are going to do a mid-season update. They are going to do a campfire chat tomorrow or whatever. I don't think this will be improved. Not because they don't think it is a problem, that maybe they don't, I don't know. But even if they think this is a problem and they want to fix it, I don't think it is fixable in a mid-season update. It can probably be fixed in a launch of a season if they want to fix it, because maybe they think this is the way the game should be philosophically. I think it is not the way it should be, because there is no difference, there is no skill difference. Like in WoW, you can have a dude that has less gear than another dude, but because he knows how to play his character, he can pump out more damage.
Yeah. So, talk about this just very briefly. Asmongold, right? Asmongold, used to be, I don't really know now, but he used to be one of the greatest World of Warcraft players, just full stop. He used to be able to solo dungeons and raids that no one else could because he just knew how to play his character. He knew how the character was supposed to be played.
That is impossible in Diablo 4. That is impossible. By the way, I haven't played a fucking Spiritborn. I don't like broken shit. When a build is broken and is compounding on bugs or whatever, I don't play them. So my main this season was the Necromancer, and then I went for the Rogue, then I went for the Druid, and then I went for the Barbarian. Those are the 4 classes that I have played this season. And I have to be honest, my 2 favorites right now are the Necromancer and the Rogue. Really fun classes, different builds that are viable to push over 90 in the pit. Really, really cool. What is the most skill expression you can have in a pit in Diablo 4? Like dodging the CC in the ground. And if you have Unstoppable, you don't care about that. Like with the Rogue, I don't have that much Unstoppable, so I use my dodges to get out of freezing stuff or the fear. But out of that, no skill expression. Or you have the damage to time the pit, or you don't have the damage to time the pit. There is no fear of dying. Nothing is going to kill you. And everything revolves around, do I have the damage to kill everything on time, or I don't have the damage to kill everything on time? And that is it. And you will say, but you are revolving everything around the pit. Yes, because the pit is the only thing you have in Diablo 4 to test your skill. Because what are you going to do? Kill over bosses that die in 1 second. And not only with the Spiritborn, with any class. Because you can say yes, because the Spiritborn is broken and you go with the Spiritborn and you kill them in 1 second. No, every class can kill any overboss in 1 second. Now, the coolest thing they introduced this season, in my opinion, is the Dark Citadel. And yes, the Dark Citadel is really cool, and I hope they keep doing it. But I don't feel the community has received it that well, the whole of the community, but I like it a lot. And how did they solve this problem in the Citadel? They didn't solve it, but they tried to do it by getting the bosses to get to points where they are completely immune. So they force the players to do the mechanics. Because what happens with Duriel, with Andariel, with the Beastie Knights, the people don't do the mechanics because what they do, the boss goes down, they one-shot the boss, and the fight is done. How did they prevent this in the Dark Citadel? Oh, you can't one-shot the boss because when you get to 1/3 of its life, he goes into immunity. And they force you to do the mechanics. That is a fix in quotes because yes, you have to do the mechanics, but it is not a fix because at the same time you are not worried about dying. The boss poses no threat to you. You just one-shot the third of the bar, do the mechanic, one-shot the other third of the bar, do the mechanic, one-shot it, and the fight is over. No threat, nothing is happening in here. In my opinion, they
It's not
should
really a
have to
fix.
balance these things so a real fight, of course, because right now Diablo 4 is just I am going to do 4 trillion damage and nothing matters. In my opinion, that is not cool gameplay, brother. There is no skill expression, there are no cool fights. Everything is, or you have luck to have the best gear, or you swipe your card to go into Diablo 4 trading and buy 4 greater affixes in all your slots, and you clear the highest speed, and you kill everything, and nothing matters. I don't think that should be the way the game is played.
This was the exact same thing that happened in Diablo 3, minus the trading aspect after they removed the auction house. But in Diablo 3, you would get to a point where either you were one-shotting everything or everything was one-shotting you, right? There really was no middle ground for the most part. You would cap your resistances, you would get the item that makes it so your follower can't die, and then the other item that makes it so that your follower takes half of the damage that you would take, so that way you take 50% overall less damage. And then you would get the right item set that is the best for that season, and then everything would just die. This is the exact same design that Diablo 3 had. Um, and don't get me wrong, it feels really good to be able to go into a huge crowd of mobs and just blow them the fuck up. But at the same time, eventually that just gets boring and repetitive. Um, I would make characters in a new season on Diablo 3. I would then go and I would go and I would get the set that I wanted to do for that season, and then I would play with that set for maybe a week or two, and then I would get bored. For one of two reasons. Either one, everything just kept one-shotting me, and I just don't find that fun. I don't think being one-shot is a fun mechanic. Um, or two, everything was dying so fast that nothing felt like it mattered. Also, um, making a boss immune and forcing players to do mechanics is not good design. It's not. It means that the way you've designed your boss and the amount of health that it has and damage going out from players is just not balanced.
Brother, what, in my opinion, what will be the fix? Rebalance the health and the damage of the monsters in the pits, rebalance the health and the damage of the bosses and the mechanics, make the mechanics more visible, rebalance how your guild works and the scaling on your characters, and fix the fucking great graphics stuff that you don't get great graphics, enough great graphics, you don't get max aspects. That is a start. And what you could also do is, if you don't want to fix any of these things, create another mode, another game mode, end game mode, where your skill is more relevant, where you go test your build, test your skill, and you drive yourself in there, and you leave everything else as it is, because, again, I find it fun. I think the game is really cool. That is why I am talking about that top end of players where it doesn't matter. Or you have the best gear because you had luck, or you traded, or whatever, or you don't have it. But there is no way to overcome this problem. Some people will say, yes, that it is Diablo 4 is a game of getting the best loot. But there is a hard wall that you won't overcome unless, again, you are lucky or you have gold to spend, and it doesn't feel good. So at that point in the season, and that happened to me, I don't want to play anymore. And you can say to me, well, yes, you got 4 characters out of the season. You had over 300 hours. I don't know how many hours I played out of the season. What else do you want? The season gave you everything it could. And I will tell you, you know why? You know what? You are right. I got a lot of content out of the season. I played a lot. That is fine. But there always can be a little bit of an improvement. And I think this is the biggest problem in the end game. There is nothing to really test your skill. There is nothing to really test your build. Everything boils down to, do you have the greater graphics or you don't have them, and that compounds with the problem that getting the greater graphics is a pain in the ass. You don't get much aspect. So that little niche problem that is happening there in the end game, in my opinion, is a problem. Diablo 4 needs cooler bosses, needs cooler an end game that truly defies your build, because right now you build your character, you get there, the game is done. So that is
same issue in Diablo 3.
Criticism for the end game of Diablo 4. Again, I know they won't fix this exact thing in the campfire chat, but they can fix other things like fixing the fucking overpoweredness of the Spirit Born. Some people don't want them to nerf the Spirit Born, but to buff the other classes, in my opinion, either of those are viable choices.
So you have to be careful here. Simply buffing all the other classes is how Diablo 3 got its power creep. Because they didn't want to nerf anything, so rather than nerf things, they just buffed other things. And then it created this scale where one class was here in one season, and then the next season they would buff the other classes, and so all the other classes would be up here, right? I'm gonna lower my hands just a little bit. And then the next season, these classes would get buffed, so they're up here, and then this one would get buffed, and it would get up, and then up and up and up and up and up, and it just created this cascading effect where power creep set in, and things just got so unbelievably powerful that people started hitting things like trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions, literally trillions of damage on each hit. Like, it got insane. So simply buffing other classes and not nerfing things is how you get power creep. Now, can that still work without and avoid the power creep? Yes, but it's very, very, very difficult. And if you want to do that, you have to do the buffs incrementally in very small amounts until all of them are at the exact same level. And that's very, very difficult to do. It's much easier to avoid power creep by just nerfing other things down little by little until it's at an even playing field.
I will be fine with them just nerfing the Spiritborn. People don't like that option, okay, of the other classes, because balance is one of the reasons people are not liking it, because if you play a Spiritborn and then you switch to another class, you think the other class sucks. I didn't have that experience because I just didn't play a Spiritborn at all. So my 4 classes, I like them. The 4 of them were really cool. I don't play Sorceress because Sorceress sucks and is for pussies. And I didn't play a Spiritborn, so I didn't have that experience. But I know that for other people that happened. They started the season with the Spiritborn. When they reach their goals, they switch it up to another class. They felt the class sucked and stopped playing right there. That is another thing they can fix in the campfire chat. But yes, guys, that is what I think about the state of the end game in Diablo 4 right now. Let me know in the comments below what you think about all of the crap that I have yapped in here. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I a clown? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading comments even when they don't agree with me, brother. Remember to like the video, to subscribe to the channel, all that cool stuff. Help me out, my dude. Guys, thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. God bless you. And remember, don't be afraid ever, because this is just a ride. By the way, if you want to know who said for the first time, this is just a ride, it is that guy in there on the poster, brother. That is the guy that said it for the first time.
You know, hilariously enough, I was actually going to ask who that was on his poster, because I saw that and I was like, I wonder who that is. So it's like you read my mind, Jazarus, before I even did anything. But yeah, so Diablo 4 is shaping up to be another Diablo 3 in terms of balance, from what I'm seeing. Not just from Jazarus's video, but from what I've seen elsewhere as well. If they don't nerf the Spiritborn, my prediction is that power creep is going to set in, and in about 3-4 years, people are going to be so ridiculously overpowered that everything is going to die no matter what. Like, and it's the issue he's raising with skill expression is still going to be there. But it's just going to be even more extreme. I hope that's not the case, because power creep was the entire reason I stopped playing Diablo 3. Now, I'm not going to be playing Diablo 4, of course, but I know that there are a lot of people that will stop playing a game because of power creep. So, yeah. Anyways, that's all I've got for my video. Thank you all for coming to my corner. I've been the Demon as always. Hit the like button, hit subscribe if you liked the video. If you didn't, hit dislike, leave a comment, let me know why. I will see you all next time.